Hello, hello, hello. Today is the 30th of December, 2021. It's time for our bi-weekly chat with Norm Winski. He's had some great calls. He'll tell us all about them and make some new ones. Norm, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff. My voice is maybe a little crackly. I apologize. I'm on the tail end of a cold, but we're going to review now the forecast that I made when I was last on Jeff's show on, I believe, the 16th of December, and we had a huge cluster coming up that weekend on the over the weekend of the 17th, and we had a 5-point cluster. I was calling that a mega huge change in trend window. This does not happen. To say that doesn't happen very often would be an understatement. So we had 5 points all over that weekend, five events. We had Saturn to the U.S. And by the way, if you need any more information on any of these technical terms, please feel free to call me or email me, and we'll set up a call, and you can get a free class. Okay, so that we this way we save time going into explaining all the technicals here. So anyway, I used the what's called the natal chart for the U.S., which is based on when the country was founded on July the 4th, 1776, and Saturn lined up with that over that weekend of the 17th. And then we also had a full moon, and that was lined up with at apogee. That only occurs about every 14 months, and that was in the sign Gemini. And then anytime we have a full moon, new moon, we round up the usual suspects: financials, grains, and precious metals. Then over that weekend, we had Venus turn retrograde. That only happens about every year and a half or so. And we had Venus markets associated with Venus are cattle, coffee, copper, cotton, sugar, and wheat. And then we also had a 2-year cycle with a Mars cycle hitting over that weekend, and that was possibly corn and gold. And then we also had another Venus cycle that weekend, and that was again your Venus markets are cattle, coffee, cotton, copper, cotton, sugar, and wheat. And that was it for that weekend. Then we had another point after the over the Christmas weekend there, with over the 23rd weekend. So we'd be looking to do something on the opening of I believe that was the 27th. So here's the rules of the game. We're looking for the market to move up or move down into these windows. If they do, then we're looking for reversal that next morning. If it's going sideways, we do nothing. Okay, it's Newton's law: for every action, there's an opposite equal reaction. If it's not going up or down, then we can't expect much of a reaction. So one of our markets was cattle. We had 3 points for cattle. We had this date here, the opening of the 20th. That's the 17th weekend there. So we look to trade on the Monday morning's opening, and as you can see, you're buying right near the bottom there, and then the cattle stampeded the higher prices. And then you had a little bit of a top there, not anything big, but you could have made a little money there too. But this was excellent, that rally there. The cotton was just kind of whipsawing back and forth and going sideways, so we did nothing there. Here's the coffee. Coffee was the problem here was we had the right day, but the volatility on the coffee was just too much. And if you bought there on that opening, it dropped 10 cents to the low, and that's a lot of money. Coffee's a beast, so every penny in coffee is $375. 10-cent move like here, that's $3,750. That's just too much risk. So I had to mark that that's kind of what I call a heartbreaker, when you kind of get the right day, but you got a bad entry. And here we go, sugar. Oh, and then over here it was just kind of going sideways, so we did nothing. Sugar, it was much more manageable, sort of a somewhat similar pattern, but much more manageable in terms of the money, because it only dropped about 50 cents, which is only about $500 in sugar, and so you ended up with a nice low there, and then sideways there for nothing. Yellow is sideways, green is a good signal, and red is a miss. Copper going sideways on both the windows. Silver had a little bit of a top here and made a high there the day before. We have to be right within one day and within a reasonable amount of range, or it's a miss. Here's gold just past that top there, and you could have made some money there. Here's corn going sideways, so we do nothing there. Here's beans, they just kept going, so that's a miss. Here's the wheat going sideways on our 3 points there for wheat, so we do nothing. and the commodities weren't as good as usual, but the financials made up for it. And we had 5 points here for that opening due to that 5 point window there over the weekend of the 17th for the S&P. And as you probably know, if you follow the S&P, it was a rocket ride here all the way up to here, and eventually hit a new all-time high. That's about over a 200 handle move there, which is $10,000 in the S&P mini. This is not part of the official presentation. Just to remind you, because it's both of these points are related to back here. And what's coming up is that we had a solar eclipse back here, right there. And then again, we had a big rally. So the moon is important. Full moon, new moon. Okay, keep that in mind that we had a moon here too. And there you go. Here's the T-bonds, did a sort of a mirror image of the S&P, and that they made a high there. We had 2 points there. We had the dollar index making a nice top there, right on the high there. Here's the Aussie dollar making a low right on the moon. Okay, there's the British pound, jolly good there, right on the lows with the moon. Here's your Canadian, they call it the loonie, the Forex people call that the loonie, the dollar. That was right on the lows there for the Canadian dollar. Euro is right on the lows there. It doesn't get much better than that. And the Japanese yen was just going sideways. Here's your Swiss franc, and there you go, right on a little low there. And if you added up the green arrows and red arrows, we had 21 winners, 4 misses out of 25 for 84% winners. So coming up, we don't have a lot coming up. We just got a little bit coming up. But over this weekend, remember I emphasized the moon. Over this New Year's weekend, we have a new moon at perigee. This only occurs, it phases in and phases out where the new moons and full moons get aligned with the apogee-perigee cycle. Perigee is one that's the closest. Apogee is one that's farthest. And this phases in and phases out about every 14 months. And now this will probably be the last one now for this cycle. We get about 2 or 3 in a series, and then it goes away. Anyway, so we have a new moon at perigee. New moon will be at its closest point. And we round up the usual suspects: financials, grains, precious metals, and coffee. And I have a little bit, if you're not familiar with me, I have a little bit of experience, been doing this professionally for about 45 years. Right out of college, I went to the Chicago Board Options Exchange in 1975, later became a member of the Chicago Board of Trade, and I've been studying the Gann and the Elliott wave and the Fibonacci, and you name it, I probably looked at it, so there you go. So I'm looking forward to helping some of the folks there, Jeff. Everybody have a great New Year's weekend and a happy, healthy New Year. And please contact me right away so we can set up a time when we can go over this information in more detail, get you maybe a free class, and get you set up for what's probably going to be a very volatile January. I have a lot of big event cycles coming up here in January, and so you don't want to be trading blind. You're a big disadvantage if you don't have this information. So looking forward to helping the folks, Jeff. Everybody
Norm,
call
as
me
usual,
right away.
I'm sorry. Norm, as usual, absolutely terrific calls, nailing it right on the nose. I'm so happy to have you here every 2 weeks, and we'll look forward to seeing you back in 2022.
Thank you very much.